So in a child's, and that could mean knees together or knees apart, making space for the torso, forehead down. So I did mention we do a little bit of hip work, so knees apart can feel really nice to start getting you into your hips. Of course, though, low back so closely connected to our hips. If you do prefer knees together or need a low back stretch, that will still benefit you as our practice carries on. And if you need to make any adjustments to the hands, like taking a prayer over your head, or coming up onto the fingertips to give the wrists a little stretch, that might feel nice. Maybe you come right back to neutral hands. Feeling all of these connection points to the mat, the shins, the tops of the feet, the forehead. Securely grounded and supported. Breathing deep into the backs of the lungs. Long, complete exhales. Since we are going to be focusing on the hips, which is associated with the second chakra, if you're into that sort of a thing, this energy center right below our navel, you could set an intention about confidence, creativity, connections outside of our immediate family. These are all things associated with that second chakra. Or maybe you're just visualizing your breath, setting something else that would serve you better. Whatever brings you in the here and present. And then let's inhale, float our way up to a tabletop with spread hands, soft elbows, everything stacked. And we'll just start inhaling into cats, or into cows, I should say, and exhaling, arcing into cats. Every inhale, a little deeper, stretching out the front of the body. Every exhale, longer, more release, waking up the spine. And just getting lost in this little connection between breath and movement. So one more full set. Doesn't matter the order, whether it's an inhale and exhale and inhale. Just going really deep into these last two poses and allowing the third breath to bring you back to neutral spine. And we'll just bump right hip over to the right, take a look back at it and feel the left side of the body open. And we'll pull to the center. Do the same on the left. So you're kind of bumping hip over, looking back at it, horse biting tail. Really, really simple. Barely looks like you're moving, but I love the side body stretch. Bring it center. And we're just gonna walk knees back. So you're coming into a half plank, sort of like a half push-up, except for our wrists are under our shoulders. Your knees go back so far that you feel your core can't help but engage. Put a little softness in elbows. We never want them locked. And we're gonna lower all the way to the belly, elbows in at the ribs. This is the way I learned to do a chaturanga and built up the backs of my triceps. So all the way down, we'll inhale our first little cobra. No help from the hands. We'll lower, curl the toes, lift the seat. And right into our downward facing dog. Taking it nice and easy, couple big pedals. Spread through the hands, lifting seat high. You both have beautiful chaturangas, but I kind of like to throw that in there, that little half. Take you back to the roots. All right. Walk the feet up to the hands and come into a forward fold. Inhale, a lot of length here at the top. Keep the knees nice and soft. So much space in the spine. Exhale, big hinge. And we'll take a moment to grab elbows, to sway, to shake out the head. Then release the hands. So much bend in the left knee that the left hand can plant on the mat. And if you're really tight in the right leg, you might need to add more than a hint of bend to the right. Maybe you come up to the fingertips or even put your left hand on the ankle, whatever makes it accessible. And we'll inhale, right hand up. Should feel like a pretty big stretch on the outside of your right leg. Wrist stacking over shoulder. Looking up at your wrist, getting a little neck stretch here in the process. Big inhale. Exhale, right hand down. Put the heavy bend in the right knee, a hint of bend in the left, unless you need more than a hint. Finding what works with the right hand placement, whether it's on the ankle or fingertips or hand on the mat. Left inhales up. Just a bit of engagement in the core to keep the back nice and safe. And then we'll look up at the fingers. Feel the whole outside of the left leg open. Exhale, fold. Both hands down. And we'll just take a nice slow roll to stand. Head coming up last. Ground it through the feet, shoulders shrugging back. Especially on a day like today where things feel like fall, find those strong connection points in your feet. Rooted into the mat, just like a tree, nice and stable against these winds and sort of chaotic energy blowing in. That's been my theme a lot in class. Because that wind does have a tendency to bring us off balance, as do most changes. So head to the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep hands up. Exhale, big hinge right at the waist. Inhale, come up half. Take the hands to the mat, find the high plank. This time we'll find a full high plank. Spread through the hands, softness in elbows, and we'll still lower all the way down. Elbows graze the ribs, tops of feet press in. Inhaling up a cobra, maybe some more help from the hands. Feel that compression in the low back. Lower. Grow your toes. Give your seat a lift. Find your downward facing. And come in for some pedals. Take a big inhale. Exhale and travel to the top. Half lift. Take a dive. Inhale, sweep your hands up. And on the exhale, bring your hands through your heart. Find the stability in your feet, standing tall and steady. Inhale, brings hands back up. Exhale, hinge right from the waistline. half lift, lengthen the spine. Hands mat, high plank, strong. Option to lower all, or maybe just half. Those beautiful chaturangas I know you have. Press through the tops of the feet regardless of what you do. Inhale, look up. Give your toes a curl, your seat a lift, back to downward facing. Exhale to the top. Inhale, come up half. Take a dive. Inhale your seat back, your hands up, and land right into your chair. Tops of shoulders melt away. Weights in the heels. Chest is lifted, looking up, forward in front of you, but kind of unfocusing your gaze. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to gently start to shift all the weight into the left foot. The left foot is grounded in the heel and the ball. The right heel is lifting up. We'll take a step back with our right foot, and we'll land in our high crescent lunge. And we're going to sink deep. So right angle in the left leg, knee completely stacked. Right heel, or I should say, right heel lifted, sinking nice and deep. Feeling our right hip flex to release, hands come back overhead, shoulders are soft. Bring your hands behind, interlace, reach your knuckles down, get a nice big stretch across your chest. This is gonna be a humble high lunge, a little bit different than a humble warrior because our back heel's lifted. Hands overhead, and we're just sort of bowing over and inside of our left leg. Inhale, make your way back up. Hands overhead, open up, find warrior two. Press through the back of the right foot, almost completely parallel to the back. Left knee's open just a hair, so you can see your left big toe opening up inner hip. Gaze over front left fingers, flip your palms to soften your shoulders away from ears. And then look out over your left fingers again. See yourself as strong, steady, rooted to the mat. Not letting those chaotic winds of fall blow you around. Take your right heel, drop it under your right knee, come into your big horse or goddess squat. Knees tracking over ankles, hands might come to hips briefly. Hands to the heart. Sink deep. And then bring your hands out like goalposts. Just a little side body. Take a big inhale. Exhale, right elbow, right knee. Inhale, come up. Exhale, left elbow, left knee. Strong side body, getting a little side body stretch, come up. One more. Exhaling as you bring elbow, knee. And inhaling up. Okay. From here, toes face the long side of your mat. We're going to come into a big star pose, drawing shoulder blades together. We'll exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Knees are soft. You can grab ankles, walk your hands through, or just keep them here in the center. Exhaling a couple releasing breaths. Forward folds are always our letting go poses. A good place to release any thoughts, any feelings. Take a little walk to the left. Just give your left leg a little release. Take a walk through center and off to the right. An extra right leg release. Come center. Take your hands to the hips. Inhale, half lift. Exhale completely. Inhale brings you all the way up. Right toes are going to face the short edge of your mat or forward. You're landing back in warrior two. This time with right knee tracking over right ankle. Opening up knee so we can see our big toe. Gaze over our front right fingers. We have this solid foundation. We're firmly rooted. We're opening up our hips. Let's flip the palms, let the shoulders fall away. Come back. Perfect. All right. Pick up your left heel. Spin your left toes forward. You're on the ball of your left foot. Both hands come overhead. Knee tracking on top of ankle. We're sinking deep into the left, opening up our left hip flexor. Shoulders are soft. We're grounded, stable, and tapping in to the biggest joint in our body, feeling it release. Shoulders soften. Hands come behind. Fingers interlace. Reaching knuckles down, opening up across the chest. Taking a couple big inhales. Hands come overhead. We're mostly dropping over our right leg, but we can come a little on the inside in this sort of humble high lunge. And then we'll inhale, come back up. Soften the shoulders. The left foot is going to step to meet the right, and we're going to have a seat back in our chair with shoulders soft, weight and heels. So now you're at the front of your mat, back in your chair. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, come up half. Hands to mat, high plank. And lower, all or half. Inhale, your big back bend. Curl your toes, lift your seat back to downward facing. And just a couple pedals. Big stretch. Inhale, send your right toes high to the sky. Put a bend in your knee. Send your foot to the left. And just give your knee a couple circles. Once again, opening the inside of the right hip. Extend your toes, big stretch. Step your right foot between your hands. Now we're in a low lunge. Knee on top of ankle. Left knee down. Left toes uncurled. Take a shift back. Let your right toes pop, right knee soft, our half Hanumanasana. Heart over knee. Lengthen your spine. You can always add more than a hint of bend in your right knee if your hamstring is feeling extra tight this morning. Take a little walk forward. Frame your foot. Give your left toes a curl under. Step your right foot back right into three-legged. Send your right foot over to the right. Maybe a couple little more circles. And if you want to let your right foot get so heavy that you flip on over into a wild thing with left leg long, right knee bent, inhaling hips up, you could. Flip back over. If you've never flipped, you've been staying here. And then we set the right toe down. I should say the right ball of the foot. So nice big stretch in your downward facing. Inhale your left toes up. And again, left foot goes over to the right. We're circling out our knee. Extending our left toes back high. Stepping our foot between our hands. Finding that strong, steady, low lunge. Dropping right knee. Uncurling right toes. Shifting back into the half Hanumanasana, half splits. Keeping knees soft, knowing you can add extra bend to accommodate a tight hamstring. Inhale, a little length into your spine. Exhale, nice big hinge in your heart. Or hinge at your waist to send your heart over your knee. Take a walk forward. Frame. Keep your right toes or curl under. Left foot steps right back to three-legged. Left foot goes over to the left. Just a couple circles. Remember, you could stay. Or you could gently start to pivot on your right foot, letting your left foot fall to the mat. You're extending your right toes, keeping a bend in left, inhaling your hips and reaching back. Wild thing. Head back over. Set your left foot down. Find your downward facing dog, couple petals. Exhale into high plank. Maybe small adjustments of hands and knees. Let's rinse out with our flow. Lower all or half. Inhale on the back bend. Curl the toes. Lift the seat. All right. Exhale, high plank. Stay for the inhale so we can exhale all the way to the belly. Elbows graze the ribs. Toes uncurl. Hands come back by the sides. Chin or forehead down. Let's work our backs just a little bit. So complete exhale. And we'll inhale, lift our chest off the mat. Shoulder blades draw together. We're reaching back towards our heels. Exhaling a little bit of length into the spine. And then inhaling our strong low backs higher. One more big inhale, your biggest expression. And as you exhale, hands in front, drop a cheek, chin, or forehead to the hands. Put a bend in your knees. And windshield wiper your feet. Take your legs long. Your arms like goalposts. Elbow in line with shoulder, wrist in line with elbow. Left cheek down. We'll draw our right knee to meet our right elbow. Two right angles. So knee in line with hip, ankle in line with knee. Half crocodile or half frog. I can't say it enough. Gravity does the work of this pose for you. And opens up the inner hip, nice and passive. So you can focus simply on your breath. And making the inhales and exhales nice and steady. A good place to practice a little non-attachment and work through the emotions stored in your hips, exhaling them away. Now take your right foot to meet your left. Make the pillow with your hands again. And this time, just the lower half of our bodies. So we exhale completely, leaving our chin or our forehead on our hands. And on an inhale, we'll lift up our legs, kiss our heels together, use our strong low backs in this half locust. Every exhale, length. Every inhale, lift and squeeze, strong low back. Use your breath. One more. Exhale, lower. Put a bend in your knees. Windshield wiper in some release. And then take your legs long. Another goalpost to the arms, right cheek to the mat. Slide that left knee into a right angle. As you come into this very passive hip opener that is half crocodile or half frog, maybe taking a moment to try and exhale a little longer than you inhaled. I know back bends get my heart racing. When we exhale a little longer, we slow our heart rate down. We calm our bodies, which allow us to relax our minds, clear our heads, and just marinate in the present moment. Take your left leg back to meet your right, your chin or forehead down. Once again, the hands are behind or are by the sides. Same setup, we exhale. And on an inhale, everything but the hip bones comes off the mat. Shoulder blades drawing together, heels squeezing together. Inhaling left, exhaling left. The big breaths in give you the strength to go deeper. Challenging our back, making it stronger in the process. One more. Exhale, lower, bring hands under head, put a bend in your knees, windshield wiper, release into the back. Take your legs long on the mat, bring your palms under your shoulders, find a tabletop, and right away, have a seat on your heels, forehead down, hands reaching. Right back to child's. I'll always tell you to take any pose, however it works best for your body. But after some deep back bends, I really like knees together in child's for that deep rounding in the low back. Finding that same sense of grounding as you did in the beginning. Feeling supported by the mat, the floor below you. Noticing how this physical connection holds you in the present moment through its sensation. The breaths are slow, steady rise and fall. Inhale, make your way to tabletop. So we're going to come into a frog and a frog without props. So we need to be extra mindful that we're being kind to the inner hips. What we're going to do is start with knees hip distance apart, and then we're just going to slowly inch them off to the sides. So remember how we had a right angle before? Now we're going to have two right angles, no more halves. And I'll turn around so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Leaving my knee in line with my hip, my ankle in line with my knee. So if we were in a studio, I might give you a bolster to put underneath you. Or maybe you've done a lot of frog before and it's easy for you to go quite far. Just don't forget you have to come out of it. Maybe today the hips are just a little stickier or a little looser. You might even find yourself on forearms. No worries if you want to stay on palms. It's a big stretch. It's easy to go too far. So try and really be kind to your hips. Once you get to a place where you feel a pretty intense stretch, but no pain, where you can hold, sort of in a state of sweet discomfort, I want you to acknowledge the sensations in your body, but then try and breathe them away. See if you can't go internal. What is any hip tightness trying to tell you? Do you have some stored emotions? Do you have a little chakra block that might be making you feel a little less creative, less motivated? Are you having trouble making connections outside the immediate family? When we open up the hips, we can feel more confident, more connected, better able to express ourselves. And then taking palms to the mat, or maybe you've been hanging out there, easing your knees back in, being mindful that the hips might be just a bit tender. Right back into your neutral table. And then you'll just have a seat on your heels and we'll neutralize in hero's pose. A lot like our child's poses, but a deeper stretch in our shin and our ankle. And of course, without the forward fold, find a good amount of length in your spine. Place your palms on your quads, give your shoulders a roll back. Close your eyes, release your jaw. Feel connected to the mat, to your own body. Hamstrings resting on calves, palms resting on quads. Giving yourself this really steady, strong foundation. To keep you stable. Now and throughout the rest of your day. Take a little tip forward to hands and knees. Swing your legs out underneath. We've spent a good deal of time, the insides and the front of the hips. Let's hit the outsides. So right ankle just drops on top of left knee, a half shoelace. You might feel it already in the outside of your right hip. Maybe you want to go a step deeper, bend into left. Your knees should be in a line. No worries if you're a little bit squared, but you might want to come back to that. Inhale, length. And we're just going to walk over. One leg's out. Be really mindful of the stretch in the back of the hamstring on the left side. If you're crossed under both, be mindful of the intensity on the right side. You might feel just a hair on the left. Try and loosen up the face, the shoulders. Try and exhale for just a little bit longer than you inhaled. Inhale, walk up. Unwind. Start with the left, then the right. Put a bend into the knees, a quick windshield wiper to release. And then send your left log, or your right log, I'm sorry. Keep the bend in the left. Set the left knee on top of the right. You could stay in half and fold, being mindful of the right hamstring. You could bend at right. And if things aren't perfectly square, just be mindful. Maybe don't fold as much. Maybe opt to take the right leg out. Always trying to be kind and easy with our bodies. They'll open up with time, not with force. And they'll also open up by letting go of seemingly unrelated tension. That's why we want a clear head when we practice. Why we try and focus on the steadiness of the inhales, or concentrate on one focal point like an intention so we can stay present. All right, inhale, press back up. Unwrap. Plant both soles. A windshield wiper release. Come into an easy seat for just a second. We did a lot of forward folding there, so let's interlace our fingers behind, draw shoulder blades together, open up the chest and the heart, fill up deep, and then relax the hands. So 2 options. You could come to your back to take a reclined pigeon, or you could tip back forward into a tabletop, curl your toes, lift your seat, and get to pigeon from a downward facing dog. So you're either taking right knee behind right wrist, keeping your left toe curled under until you can see your heel behind your left hip, setting foot down, inhaling a little length into the spine, and rolling over your pigeon, making a pillow with your hands, evenly distributing the weight between your hips. Or of course, you can come onto your back, right ankle, left knee, and pull the figure 4. It is the pigeon of your choosing. Whether you're reclined or sort of prone over your leg, we want soft shoulders. They're either relaxing to the mat and reclined or releasing open in the forward fold. Imagining every inhale softens your body, your hip especially, and every exhale melts you a little deeper into the pose. Then get out of your body and go internal to breath or intention. Inhale and start to come onto your palms, or exhale your left foot to the mat. You're either going to curl your left toes under and come up to a downward facing dog, or you're going to plant both soles and windshield wiper your feet. Just sort of depends on which variation you chose. So then we're taking left knee behind left wrist, or left ankle to right knee if you're reclined. If you're folded over, you're looking back, lining up heel with hip before you uncurl your toes. Evenly distributing the weight between your hips if you're folding, and whether you're reclined or prone over the leg, you're softening your shoulders and the muscles in your face. Once the body is as relaxed as it can be, we clear out the head, exhaling away our thoughts, detaching from any lingering emotions we're finding in our hips, and noting if this mental release makes it easier for our bodies to relax a little deeper into the posture. Inhale to your palms, or exhale your right foot down. You're either coming back to a final downward facing dog, or a final windshield wiper of your knees. We're all gonna just find our little release poses. If you're on your back, hang out, because the down dogs are gonna come meet you. We're gonna drop our knees, flip onto our seat, and we're all gonna wind up on our backs. So if you've just made it to your back for the first time, give yourself a couple windshield wipers of knees side to side. And then we'll plant our feet. Bring them mat distance apart, let knees fall together in the centers. Our constructive rest space in the low back. Let the backs of your hands roll open, or roll onto the mat, so your palms are rolling open. Invite in a little energy through your open palms Take a couple really deep breaths and long release exhales. Bring your knees apart. Bring your feet back to neutral. Draw your knees into your chest. Exhale, give yourself a hug. Take a couple reps. Bring your feet up. Drop your knees open. Find a happy baby. Coming into stillness or taking a little happy baby rock. Release both feet. Give your knee a hug. Then left leg long. Leave right knee. Squeezing into chest. A couple rotations here. And then left hand will take the leg across the body. Right hand will reach. Keeping the right angle shape with your right leg. Facing ceiling or looking right if it feels good in the neck. One last release for low back and the outside of your right hip. Body gets softer with every exhale. Head gets clearer. Bring your head center, face the ceiling. Take your leg across. Exhale, hug your heart or your knee towards your heart. And then off to your right. Maybe a final circle or two or a hold off to the side. Then take your right leg long on the mat. Inhale your left knee into your chest. Drawing little circles with your left knee. Right hand will take the leg across the body, keeping the right angle shape. I like to keep my hand on my knee, a little weight. Left fingers, I reach them for stability. Looking to the ceiling or looking left if it feels good in your neck. Feeling the big stretch in the left hip and the low back. Feeling your body release deeper into the twist with every exhale. Inhale your head center. Take your left leg back across. Give it a hug. Let it drop off to the left. Maybe you take a little rotation first. And then a nice big hug and squeeze. Draw right knee up. Make some circles with both knees together. Exhale, bring heart into knees. One last release for low back. Draw your forehead now up to your knees, a little full body squeeze. And then exhale. And relax to Savasana. Which could also be taken in a constructive rest, unless you prefer lying flat. Mindful now to release every part of our body. Maybe starting at the center in your hips and your low back, your center of gravity. Feeling your legs soften and melt away. Moving up higher in the torso to the shoulders and fingertips. Softening the muscles of the face. And we're just taking a moment here to settle into our bodies, to completely let them go. We had this focus on our hips. Some of us were calling to mind images of the sacral chakra. Maybe you want to just visualize a nice warm orange glow, either coming from the hips or from the mind's eye. It's almost like a rising sun. Beautiful, but not too bright. That rising orange glow. A strong foundation for new beginnings, new connection, renewed confidence. A stronger light, but not overwhelmingly bright, warm and secure. Take a big inhale to change the pattern of your breath and start waking your body. Noticing how the lungs rise and fall, the way the breath physically moves through you. Maybe even a little sigh out. And then you can start opening and closing your hands, balling up your fists, and then finding length in your fingers. Maybe making little fists with your feet and then stretching your toes long like you're flexing your feet, flapping your toes. Couple rolls in the wrists, the ankles. Dropping right ear to the right, left ear to the left, waking the neck. A full body stretch, big reach. We'll roll to the right. We'll pause on our bicep, taking a moment, trying to transition from back to side, signifying our rebirth. And then we'll easily press our way up to an easy seat. And I will say, as always, thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.